Welcome back, my good people. We are still discussing on the question that can somebody contract or get a sexually transmitted infection without necessarily having a penetrative sex or sexual act? And the answer is yes, as we have discussed in the previous video. Before we continue, for those who have not subscribed, please subscribe, like, share and comment on our videos so that they may reach as many people as possible, and this will boost my morale to educate you more. So let's get back to our discussion. Another question we have to ask ourselves concerning sexually transmitted infections and sexually transmitted diseases. So, what other sexual activities can transmit an STI? What other sexual activities can transmit an STI? That is a question. So, STIs are not weeds. STIs are not weeds and don't sprout out of nowhere. Sexually transmitted infections are not like weeds in the shamba. So they don't sprout from nowhere. Not this. For STI to be transmitted, for an STI or a sexually transmitted infection to be contracted or transmitted from point A to point B or from one person to another, someone, and this is very important, someone must be doing the transmitting. Someone must be doing the transmitting. That means this person must having the infection in his or her body. So someone must be doing the transmitting, and for someone to do the transmitting, they must be positive. You can't transmit syphilis, for example, when you don't have the syphilis in your body. So you must be positive for this kind of a disease for you to transmit from yourself to your partner. I hope you get that point very clearly. So, someone to be transmitting, he or she must be positive, which can be confirmed through a laboratory test. So, depending on what the sexually transmitted infection is and where it's located, an STI or a sexually transmitted infection can be transmitted during any sexual activity that involves the following. 1. Mouth lips. If you have an STI in your mouth, because it cannot be only found in the sexual organs, if you have an STI in your mouth, definitely you will be able to transmit to the other person. For example, herpes. Number 2. So number 1 is mouth, lips, throat, saliva. Mouth, lips, throat, and saliva. Number 2, blood or breast milk. Blood or breast milk. For example, in the case of hepatitis B, when you are transfused with a blood which contains hepatitis B, definitely you will get this kind of a disease. If you have hepatitis and you are breastfeeding, you can easily transmit this disease from yourself to your kid. Simple. Number 3, vaginal fluid. That one is obvious. Vaginal fluid, pre-ejaculation, into brackets, pre-cum, semen, or anal secretions. Number 4, internal anal canal or oral entrance or perineum. Internal oral canal, internal oral canal, oral entrance or perineum. Number 5, he must be involved in vaginal canal, vulva, penis, and testicles. So, this means that STIs can be transmitted during any of the following sex acts. So, the above, we said this. STI, depending on what the STI is and where it's located, an STI could be transmitted during any of the following sexual activity, or could be transmitted during sexual activity that involves or that touches the following parts. Let me be precise. It must involve sexual activity that touches vaginal fluid or pre-ejaculation or pre-cum semen or anal secretions, mouth, lips, and saliva, blood or breast milk, vaginal canal, vulva, penis, and testicles. So, this sexual activity must involve all those. Then, this means that an STI can be transmitted during any of the following acts. Any of the following acts. Number 1, kissing. Number 2, oral nipple stimulation. Number 3, oral sex. For those who love oral sex, now you are in for it. Oral sex, including anal and vaginal intercourse. No, let me repeat this. Oral sex, including giving head and rimming. That one you know by yourself. Number 4, intercourse, including anal fingering, vaginal fingering, or vulvar stimulation and hand jobs. Number 5, intercourse, including anal and vaginal intercourse. The next point, hand sex. Hand sex, including anal fingering, vaginal fingering, vulvar stimulation, and hand jobs. Now, I think everybody is getting an answer to this. So, any play involving menstrual blood from another part of the body, or lactation, and other non-sexual activities that transmit STIs. I hope you get this. Any play involving menstrual blood for another part of the body, and lactation, and other non-sexual activities transmit STI. Let me repeat this once more. Any play involving menstrual blood from another part of the body, and or lactation, and other non-sexual activities transmit STI. Anything involving ingestion of, or anything involving ingestion of, exposure to, or swapping of body fluids, anything involving exposure or exchange or swapping of body fluids could result in transmission of STI or an infection. For example, platonic mouth kissing, sharing sex toys that have not been cleaned. For those who love using the dildos, you know what I'm talking about. For those who are involved in lesbianism, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't wash your sex toys well, you can easily transmit the infection from yourself to your partner. So, number 3, getting blood transfusion. I think I had explained this. Sharing needles, giving birth. Those are the other ways that can transmit an STI. Getting a tattoo all piercing. For those who love the tattoos, the object that is doing the tattoo might be contaminated from another person. Then when it comes to you, you get infected from an infection from another person. Breastfeeding, if you are a mother and you have a sexually transmitted infection in your body, it can be easily transmitted through breastfeeding and chest feeding. And the last point, we have self-inoculation. Self-inoculation. So both of these videos I've done today can answer the question that STIs can be transmitted through other ways, not necessarily being involved in a penetrative sexual intercourse. This marks the end of our discussion today. Let's continue subscribing, liking, and sharing our videos so that they may reach as many people as possible. Guys, thank you for the support. Keep the support on, and may God bless you. Enjoy your weekend.